Good morning, Ross and Fit Mum here. So let me talk about a few things. There's a bit of light there, isn't it? Can you see me a bit better? I mean, it's good to have sunlight around, but I just want you to see me. Let me talk about a few things. So you know my story that my son was in hospital with nephrotic syndrome, and so that's how I got inspired to follow a path, to follow a journey of discover what really means true nutrition, what's behind illnesses, what's behind food that makes us sick, what are better choices, better ways of dealing with illnesses and allergies and stuff. And I eliminated chemicals and antibiotics and normal remedies from a lifestyle pretty much almost fully. I think there was only one time in this journey that my son got a bit sick again. I think it was something to do with, it was a respiratory pneumonia or something like that. And I went down the path of antibiotics. But as I knew a lot more things, and I knew how to deal with antibiotics as well, because sometimes if you have to go down the path of Western medicine, there are special cases when you might have to, but you can reinforce your recovery, or you can deal with the side effects better if you incorporate food and natural alternative ways of building up your immune system, because that's basically what it is. Instead of trying to kill what's bad, the idea is to strengthen what's good, to strengthen your immune system and fight whatever it is naturally. Again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not here telling you what to do or anything like that, but I'm saying what works for me and what feels better inside me. And so what I'm saying is sometimes you might need to use antibiotics, or you might need to use chemicals and drugs, but you can always balance it out with natural remedies and food. So after a few years after my son had that nephrotic syndrome, he started to develop a little bit of eczema, which it was something that he had as a baby. It was always mild because it was a breastfed baby, so it was always mild. But because I didn't know that much back then, it was sometimes dealing with using creams from the pharmacy, things that I won't use anymore. And so now when I approach what my approach now is just to deal with it in a healthy way, in a natural way, and slower, but again, building up his immune system to fight anything. So what happened was when he started to develop this eczema again in his arms here and the back of the legs, I knew that it was to do with a lot of foods that as he's growing and getting towards teenage years is hard when you live in society and you are the mom saying and doing certain things, but he sees everybody else doing the opposite, and it's a little bit hard for him. You know how teenagers want to fit in, and so they'll feel that if they don't do as what the friends and most people do, they're missing out on something. So it is a journey they also need to walk through. And because I made these changes in our life when my son was already much older, it's a bit harder. If you as a mom, you are prepared with all this information and you make these changes in your life even before becoming a mom, or when your child is so little, it's much easier to put some concepts in him that will come second nature, and then as he grows he'll feel like that's the only way to go, or definitely the best way to go. So anyway, so I already had an idea how to deal with it, but I went to see a neurologist, Dr. Ross, who I love here in Melbourne. I recommend Dr. Ross to a lot of people. And one of these days I'm going to go and I'm going to do like a little interview with Dr. Ross so you can meet him. And he's got great concepts and great ways of dealing with, and he helped people with so many different illnesses to recover and heal. So Dr. Ross said he gave me many things, right, to build the immune system. But one of the most important things in dealing with eczema, because eczema, even though it's in your skin, it comes from your tummy, like most things do. And so one of the best things was to incorporate probiotics as on a daily basis. And when he was at that stage where it was really bad, it was about 3 times a day, to have the antibiotics. Forget antibiotics, the probiotics, probiotics pro life. All right, so this doesn't kill anything, but it adds life to yourself. Yeah, so these are the probiotics. They are dairy free. Yeah, and so these are the probiotics, Healthy Essentials. I think that's quite a trustable brand. There are good and bad, like in anything, so that's important. Yeah, there are even better probably brands that Healthy Essentials, but within something that is affordable, and again, dairy free and trustworthy. Healthy Essentials is okay, especially when you need, in a case like this, dealing with a certain problem, so the eczema. And one thing I want to say is that they are veggie capsules, but honestly, at the beginning I used to give it to my son whole with a veggie capsule, but then I felt, you know what, I think the most natural the better, right? So what I do now, I don't use a veggie capsule anymore. I try to avoid using all types of things that are not 100% food. So I get the veggie capsule and I open it, and I get the thing inside, which are the probiotics in the powder form, and I just put in a glass with a little bit of water, and that's it. And that's the way he has it. First thing in the morning before breakfast. Then we have these other type of daily prebiotic and probiotic. Yeah, so prebiotics are also super important. Some people, they say that in fact it's better to have prebiotics all the time. And so I think that this blend, which contains both, is really, really good, and is all based on natural food. So it's all ingredients are certified organic, dairy-free, gluten-free, raw and fermented. And it's quinoa, millet, sunflower seeds, alfalfa grass, linseeds, sweet potato, mung beans, atsuki beans, lentils, chickpeas, and Daniela salina. Okay, I don't know if I pronunciated that right. I try to look for things that are based on food, on things that are 100% coming from whole foods and no synthetic. So same with the vitamins and everything. I look for vitamins that are, if you have to, like the best, obviously always 100% the best way to consume the vitamins is from the actual foods, yeah. But because we live in a city and we are depleted of so many things, like the soil is depleted, the air, the water, everything has a little bit of contamination in it. I think it is important to add some supplements to your life, even if it's not always. It's okay to have breaks. You can have a month and then you can have a month off, and it doesn't have to be like religion, but I think it's good if you can add that extra bit to your organic daily intake of natural food. I think it's good, but it's important. Brands are important, so researching the brands and make sure that they're trustworthy, and also read the labels, and it needs to come from whole foods, natural foods, to be the more natural as possible. So, and then we have prebiotic vitamin C. I like this brand very much so far. Why I say so far? Because sometimes I use certain brands and then over time I might discover something that I feel, in fact, actually maybe I'm not so sure about this, and then I find something else that I trust more and I change. That happens along the way. We learn by experience, we learn by doing things. We have some concepts and we apply them, then we might learn new concepts, and so it might be time to change. It might be, actually I was doing really good choosing this brand. So this is Amazonia, And again, this is made out of all natural foods. There's no chemicals or synthetic anything to it. It's all based on food. So aloe vera and prebiotics, vegan and alkaline, 400 milligrams of whole vitamin C, which is equivalent to 8 oranges, and acerola, camu, baobab, javin, and rosehip. I find this quite useful as well. It tastes good. It actually tastes good, and I find this quite useful because, again, it's not for me. I do this more for my son. Children and teenagers can be sometimes a little bit hard, in regards of having all the health foods that they need. It's hard. They go through these stages of testing everything and having some chunk and and watching others and finding conflict there. And so I find that this way, I try to keep all his fruit intake, and he loves fruits, by the way, but I try to keep all that as much as possible within what's okay. But I give this extra teaspoon, and yeah, so I feel like he's, even if he's not having enough of the good stuff, he at least gets some of the beautiful goodness from vitamin C. Vitamin C is very important. We need to actually supply vitamin C. So we can do it in a natural form. So you make sure you have enough vitamin C in your juices, smoothies, or the food intake that you have. But also you can look for things like that are really good. And especially with this eczema, is one of the things that helps as well. And another way is using bicarb soda. Yeah? Now, bicarb soda is very important that you look for one that is food grade, and it says no aluminium and no mercury, because the one that you can get at the supermarket might have aluminium and mercury. So it's very important to find bicarb soda that says that is pure bicarb soda, 100%. And there's so many uses to bicarb soda. I'm going to talk about those uses another day. Baking, antiseptic, dental care, cleaning, deodorant. But today I'm just going to talk about the alkalizing effect in your body. So you mix half a teaspoon in a large glass of water, and you consume it after your meals. And it's super alkalizing for your body. And it's cheap, affordable as well. Alright, so that was a little bit of my thing for now. I'll keep talking, but I think I'm going to leave it there for now. Ask your questions down below, and I'll be happy to answer. I hope this helps. Have a beautiful time.